1 of 45. Robin Wright. 1987's The Princess Bride and 1994's Forrest Gump gave Robin early cred, but she struggled for much of the next 2 decades to find another buzzy role. Then came House of Cards, which has earned her an Emmy nomination every year since 2013. Her comeback continued in 2017 with a supporting role in Wonder Woman, a part shall continue in next month's Justice League. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 2 of 45. Vanessa Williams. Vanessa entered the zeitgeist as the first African-American woman to be crowned Miss America in 1983, but the next year she was forced to hand over her crown after Penthouse magazine published nude photos of her without her permission. It could have been the end of her, but instead, in 1988, she launched a music career that led to hits like Save the Best for Last and Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. Big acting roles eventually followed too, with standout projects including Soul Food, Ugly Betty, and Desperate Housewives. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 3 of 45. Betty White. Betty's roles sprawl decades, with highlights including The Mary Tyler Moore Show in the 70s and The Golden Girls in the 80s. But no one could have predicted the career resurgence she received in 2010. First there was the Snickers commercial, then there was the fan-petitioned SNL hosting gig, and then she landed another successful series in Hot in Cleveland. It was the kind of comeback that many stars 50 years younger can only dream of. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 4 of 45. Shania Twain. With boot-stompin' hits like Man I Feel Like a Woman and That Don't Impress Me Much, Shania Twain solidified herself as the queen of country pop in the 90s and early 2000s. Her career went on hold though when her producer husband left her for her best friend, and then on top of that, Lyme disease devastated her voice. Luckily, Shania overcame and returned in 2017 with her first studio album in 15 years. It just debuted as the #1 album in the country. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 5 of 45. Tina Turner. Although Tina's early career with husband Ike resulted in several hits such as Proud Mary, the relationship was abusive and ultimately ended in divorce. When Tina first went solo in the late 70s, she did not find the same chart success. But everything turned around in 1984 with the release of her album Private Dancer, which produced her classic tune What's Love Got to Do with It. A flood of Grammys followed, as did the thriving solo career she deserved. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 6 of 45. Joan Rivers. Her long and storied career got its jump start on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, with whom she had a falling out after getting a talk show of her own in 1986. After that ended, she got a second series, The Joan Rivers Show, which ran from 8,993. In the 2000s, she reinvented herself as a red carpet host and the star of Fashion Police. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 7 of 45. Raven-Symoné. After starting her career on The Cosby Show, Raven came to her highest fame as the star of Disney Channel's That's So Raven. Her resume proved unspectacular following the show's conclusion in 2007, but when she joined The View in 2015, she suddenly became a household name again, sometimes for controversial reasons. That exposure led to a revival of her Disney character on the new show Raven's Home, which was just renewed for a second season. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 8 of 45. Martha Stewart. Insider trading brought Martha down to size after years as the reigning queen of homemaking. But a 2004 stint in prison couldn't keep her down. She returned in 2005 with a well-orchestrated comeback campaign that saw her returning to her roots and expanding her empire once again. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 9 of 45. Britney Spears. 1 year in particular was so rough for Britney, it's now a popular meme. If Britney Spears can make it through 2007, then I can make it through today. The depth of the "Oops, I Did It Again" singer's public breakdown makes it all the more impressive that she was able to turn things around the following year with her hit album Circus and subsequent world tour. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 10 of 45. Christian Slater. Early success in 80s movies The Legend of Billie Jean and Heathers led to box office power for Christian in the 90s with movies like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. As the 2000s came and went, so did his fame, until 2016, when his role in Mr. Robot suddenly brought him back to national attention and won him a Golden Globe. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 11 of 45. Winona Ryder. As a major star of the 90s, Winona starred in such films as Edward Scissorhands, Reality Bites, and Girl, Interrupted. Then her world came crashing down when she was arrested for shoplifting in 2001. She took a break from Hollywood, and when she was ready to return, the industry didn't have much for her to do. A few years later, enter Stranger Things, the surprise Netflix hit that gave her a second act. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 12 of 45 Ryan Reynolds. It was a superhero that brought Ryan down, and it was a superhero that brought him back up. The hunky leading man had built up goodwill from movies like The Proposal, then the 2011 mega-flop Green Lantern stopped his career in its tracks. Luckily, Ryan was able to find another supersuit to slip into. 2016's Deadpool was a blockbuster success, propelling him back onto the list of most bankable actors. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 13 of 45 Leah Remini. For nearly a decade, audiences watched Leah Remini every week on The King of Queens, but after the show ended in 2007, she faded from view. A short stint co-hosting the talk proved a non-starter, but then Leah left the Church of Scientology and became the face of its opposition. Her memoir about the subject became a bestseller, and her documentary series about Scientology just earned her an Emmy. Now, she's back to acting too, appearing opposite her former co-star Kevin James on Kevin Can Wait. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 14 of 45 Ed O'Neill. After starring as Al Bundy on Married with Children, which aired its last episode in 1997, he had the occasional small role here and there. Then in 2009 he was cast as the patriarch of the hit ABC show Modern Family, for which he's received 3 Emmy nominations. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 15 of 45 Nas. Often cited as one of the greatest MCs of all time, Nas made a huge splash on the hip-hop scene with his debut album Illmatic in 1994. However, his influence was waning by the late 90s, and ironically, a diss track from Jay's was what it took to reignite his fire. In 2001, he released the eviscerating response Ether, which gave his career new life. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 16 of 45 Matthew McConaughey. Matthew's return to A-list stardom was such a big deal, it got a moniker, The McConaissance. After coming to fame with a breakout part in 1993's Dazed and Confused, Matthew became known in the early aughts for beloved rom-coms like The Wedding Planner and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. But then he became known for, not beloved rom-coms, such as Fool's Gold. Come 2014, had completely turned things around with a string of critically praised projects like Magic Mike, The Wolf of Wall Street, True Detective, and Dallas Buyers Club, which won him an Oscar. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 17 of 45 Mandy Moore. Mandy got her start as a teeny bopper with Pop Earworms Like Candy in 1999 and I Wanna Be With You in 2000, and as an actress in 2002's A Walk to Remember. Save for voicing Rapunzel in the 2010 Disney musical Tangled, success eluded her for most of the ensuing decade and a half. Then, out of nowhere, her 2016 NBC drama This Is Us became one of the biggest things on TV. The part garnered Mandy her first Golden Globe nomination. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 18 of 45 Natasha Lyonne. Known for starring in the American Pie movies, Natasha became a tabloid fixture in the 2000s because of various legal woes and personal struggles. Her drug use led to a 2005 hospitalization for a collapsed lung and hepatitis C. The publicity around her addiction kept her from getting work for years, but once she got sober, Natasha eventually landed the comeback role of Nikki Nichols on Netflix's addictive series Orange is the New Black. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 19 of 45 Demi Lovato. As a Disney Channel princess, Lovato starred in the Camp Rock movies and on the series Sunny with a Chance, and by 2009, she had also released 2 solo albums. But in 2010, she abruptly left a world tour with the Jonas Brothers and headed to rehab for her struggles with an eating disorder, addiction, and self-harm. Less than a year later, she was back with the powerful single Skyscraper, and her music career has slowly been on the rise ever since. She just earned her highest slot on the charts yet with Sorry Not Sorry. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 20 of 45 Kesha Pop's Resident Party Girl tore up the charts beginning in 2009 with smashes like TikTok, We Are Who We Are, and Timber. But behind all the glitter was a lot of pain. In 2014, Kesha checked into rehab and later sued her producer Dr. Luke, claiming sexual assault and battery. The legal battle kept her away from recording until she returned in 2017 with a new image and sound for the album Rainbow, featuring the top 40 hit Praying. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 21 of 45 Michael Keaton. Michael reached peak fame starring as Batman in a pair of films in 1989 and 1992, and he continued to work throughout the 90s. But his star power burnt out after the turn of the century, until he took on 2014's Birdman, in which he played the very meta part of a faded actor who once played a superhero. The movie earned him an Oscar nomination and made him a sought-after star once again. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 22 of 45 Nick Jonas. The Jonas Brothers were one of the biggest success stories to come out of Disney Channel, but once the group disbanded in 2013 with their glory days well behind them, all signs pointed to the Joe Bros going the way of Hanson. Instead, the following year, youngest sibling Nick Jonas pulled a Justin Timberlake, successfully going solo with chart toppers like Chains, Jealous, and Close. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 23 of 45 JoJo. After her hits Leave, Get Out and Too Little Too Late took over radio in the mid-2000s, it seemed like JoJo was set to be a major force in pop. Unfortunately, label trouble all but killed her career, keeping her in limbo as she tried to get out of her contract. She was finally freed in 2014, however, and by 2016, she was back with the bop FK Apologies, which brought her a whole new audience. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 24 of 45 Janet Jackson. Janet was one of the biggest pop stars in the world, until that whole wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl happened. Unfairly tainted by the controversy, she continued to release music to less fanfare through 2010, then stepped away from the mic. But in 2015, she thrilled fans by finally releasing a new album, appropriately titled Unbreakable, and she has since returned to touring. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 25 of 45 Taraji P. Henson. Critics first took notice of the powerhouse actress in 2005's Hustle Flow, which Taraji followed up with an Oscar-nominated performance in 2008's The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. But then she became tied up in the CBS crime drama Person of Interest and largely slipped away from mainstream recognition, that is, until 2015, when she took on the role of a lifetime as Cookie in the Red Hot series Empire. Within weeks of the premiere, Taraji was an A-list star again, as evidenced by the rapturous praise her Oscar-nominated film Hidden Figures received earlier this year. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. 26 of 45 Neil Patrick Harris. Neil came to prominence in 1989 playing a teenage doctor on the series Doogie Howser, MD. The show concluded in 1993, and he continued to work consistently thereafter. A notable role as an adult didn't really come until 2004, when he played himself in Harold Kumar Go to White Castle and then was cast in 2005 as Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother. Legendary Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 27 of 45 Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba took home an Oscar in 1997 for his work on Jerry Maguire and launched a catchphrase in the process. You can be sure people are still shouting "Show me the money" at him on the street. Afterwards, his career became very hit or miss, with successes like Men of Honor and flops like Boat Trip and Daddy Day Camp. But in recent years, he's steadied things out with commendable turns in Lee Daniels' The Butler and Selma, and the biggest turnaround of all, an Emmy-nominated role as O.J. Simpson in American Crime Story. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 28 of 45 Matthew Fox. Audiences swooned for Matthew as the eldest sibling on the 90s This Is Us Ancestor, Party of Five. But after the show ended in 2000, he all but disappeared, only popping up in a short-lived UPN show called Haunted. Then 2004 came, and he was back in the headlines as the leading man of the hit series Lost. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 29 of 45 Green Day. The punk rock band broke out with its major-label debut, Dookie, in 1994, thanks to alt-rock chart hits such as Basket Case and When I Come Around. Their next three albums failed to reach the same heights, but in 2004, Billy Joe Armstrong and the gang came back in a big way with the album American Idiot. The album's success incited a rejuvenation of fervor for the band, giving them their first crossover hits in Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Holiday, Wake Me Up When September Ends, and the title track. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 30 of 45 Gloria Estefan. A major accident in 1990 could have ended Gloria Estefan's career. When a semi-truck hit her tour bus, she suffered a broken vertebrae. After taking time to recover, Gloria returned less than a year later with a new single and a lauded comeback performance on the American Music Awards. The number earned her a standing ovation, and the song, Coming Out of the Dark, hit number 1. Getty advertisement. Continue reading below. 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 Advertisement. Continue reading below.